Good morning from the Blues Brothers, home of the NFL and AFC leading Broncos and Patriots fans. Who's number one in the NFL right now, Raj?
Best record would be the Denver Broncos.
11 games straight, and now several people have finally given them respect. And in the power rankings, several outlets have listed them at number one, several at number two. ESPN still puts them at three, but they did prove something last week. Well, they can beat a good team from behind
Right,
at home, which is key going out because right now they have an 81% chance of being the number one seed.
right,
They're at home for all the rest of their games except Kansas City, and they don't have Patrick Mahomes.
right.
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
You're,
So
I think you're in great shape.
things look, I mean, the Jaguars are going to be tough, but we have them at home. Chargers are going to be tough, but we have them at home. I'm like, man, home field advantage is a big deal.
Keep surprising me.
Well, yeah,
Here's the odd.
the Rams keep surprising me. Mr.
Right.
42-year-old Matthew Stafford,
It's awesome.
Georgia boy, just killing it. I love that. I mean, I love that for him.
Right. Here, the funny thing, so what, we're 10-3. You're no, we're yeah, I think
I
no,
like
no.
12 and 2. You guys
No,
are
11
like
and 3.
11 and 3.
11 and 3, because
Yeah,
we were
we're
11 and
12 and
2.
2. Yeah.
So we're 11 and 3, but the three losses are all at home. In other words, so the interesting thing is we're undefeated on the road.
Which is good for you guys because it looks like you're going to be on the road.
Well, the first game is still likely to be, we're likely to win the division.
Okay. Okay.
So we're likely,
To get a home game,
but we've played best.
which could be your demise.
Right, we played best on the road. So it's not, so actually, like
That's
the thought,
interesting.
we haven't lost a road game all season. Not
That's
at
amazing.
Buffalo, not at Tampa Bay, not at Miami, not at some tough places. So it's that odd, even this last week's loss, which was a tough, but it was at home. Of
That
all
was
things.
bizarre. That I actually took a nap at halftime. You guys were up like 21-3 or something. I'm like, well, they got that one. That's a no gamer. And I woke up to the horror of
Right.
it's like 35-31 or something there behind. I'm like,
Not
what?
a horror for a Bronco fan.
No, but I was like, well, it made me feel though, as a Bronco fan, oh, this is a harbinger of things to come. This is gonna be one of those days. It's gonna be weird. Like
Yeah,
the right people do the right thing and it just goes bad.
right.
Anyway, by the way, one last thing, and then we got to get to the song because the song that you picked is so good. Probably the best of the year well, the best of the year by my count. But
Okay.
I think I know what led to Micah Parsons' injury in the Bronco game. They clocked him chasing down Bo Nix at 19.2 miles an hour. Dude can fly for a big guy.
Yeah.
And he's fast. But think about that. You put that much speed and that much weight on a knee, because
Right.
non-contact injury. I'm like, why do that quick? I'm like, it
What's funny is,
means I could go as fast as I want in my John Deere Gator, and Micah Parsons could be running right next to me.
well, what's comical on that same front, where our teams are so parallel, is Drake May has just got this extraordinary speed.
Yeah.
So there's this play in the second half. The only touchdown was scored.
Yeah, watch that one. Yeah.
The running back breaks out of a pack and starts running around to the left. Well, Drake May takes off as a blocker going down with. He was staying ahead of. He was staying
The running back.
parallel with, and Henderson can fly.
Yeah.
I mean, he can
He
fly.
showed me a lot the first half.
Drake May literally was keeping up. He's like Nick's, he's very fast.
Fine. Yeah. Nick's surprisingly fast because they never got to him.
Right.
I mean, it's like, and he was on the run a lot.
Yeah.
Throwing on the run a lot, which is I love. I'm a John Elway fan. I started watching Denver in 1984, and when you watch someone that is running hard to the right at 19.2 miles an hour and then throws it back across their body to the left on the money, that is a tough throw.
It's impossible to.
It's physics.
Right.
You got 20 miles an hour going right, and you're throwing. I mean, you have to just
You have
do
to
it.
count. Yep.
Perfect. All right, so Roger picked a song. I've never done this before, but I'm going to do it today. It's so important that they understand, they hear the lyrics of this because most of them have never ever heard it.
Right. No, and I'll say this on this point
Yeah.
before you read them,
Uh,
because it dawned on me this morning. It's a Christmas song I've never heard on the radio.
ever.
No, I think about all the times I've turned. and even this season, I've heard some Christmas songs I've never heard before. I'll be
One
playing.
person listed it as the worst Christmas song ever, which is fascinating to me. So it's called The Rebel Jesus. It's a Christmas song. It's got a lovely start. You're gonna love this.
Oh no, it's got this wonderful, yeah, kind of
Oh, so
lilting.
it's an
Da,
Irish
da,
folk
da,
melody.
da,
Actually
da,
had some
da,
bagpipes in
da.
it.
Right,
It's a beautiful
right.
song. So lyrically, it's okay. When I listened to it again this morning, 'cause I've listened to it a couple times. I listened to it again this morning, Roger. I thought for sure I was hearing the voice of Rich Mullins. It's almost
Yes,
dead on
it's
Rich Mullins.
it's
And,
very
and
rich.
lyrically, it is Rich Mullins on steroids.
Reincarnate,
All right, so
reincarnate.
listen to, I'm going to do this fast, listeners, but
It's
so
okay.
here's
Take your time.
here's the Rebel Jesus. All the streets are filled with laughter and light and the music of the season, and the merchants' windows all are bright with the faces of the children,
Yes.
and the families are hurrying to their homes while the sky darkens and freezes. We'll be gathering around their hearths and tables, giving thanks for God's graces and the birth of the Rebel Jesus.
Yes.
Lovely start
So
to it.
beautiful.
So Christmassy.
So beautiful.
Then there's a bit of a turn. Well, they call him by the Prince of Peace, and they call him by the Savior, and they pray to him upon the seas and in every bold endeavor, and they fill his
Yes.
churches
Yes, we do.
with their pride and gold as their faith in him increases. But they've turned the nature that I worship in from a temple to a robber's den, in the words of the rebel Jesus. Gets better.
Okay.
We guard our world with locks and guns, and we guard our fine possessions. And once a year, when Christmas comes, we give to our relations.
Yes,
And perhaps we give a little to the poor if the generosity should seize us. But if any one of us should interfere in the business of why there are poor, they get the same as the rebel Jesus. Now, pardon me if I have seemed to take the tone of judgment, for I've no wish to come between this day and your enjoyment. In a life of hardship and earthly toil, this is so Ecclesiastes, there's a need for anything that frees us. So I bid you pleasure, and I bid you cheer from a heathen and a pagan on the side of the rebel Jesus. OMG. That is such a powerful song, and Rich Mullins could have written it. I mean, that is so
Right.
who he was, what he stood for.
We talk about songwriters being prophets.
Yep, the poet and the prophet.
And that is prophetic. And it aligns with the prophets and it aligns with the prophet Jesus.
Yes.
I mean, beautifully.
And Jackson Browne, that came out in 1991.
Jackson Browne, yeah.
By the way, in the words of Tom Petty, he won't back down. So he released a video on Christmas Eve 2020 of him singing that song in his home at a piano, just him. It was so good. He sings
Was it Jackson Browne or who?
No, Jackson Browne did it.
Okay,
Jackson
yeah,
Browne
yeah.
did this from his home or from his studio.
Right.
He's just playing. He sings the song and then he looks dead into the camera. Christmas Eve 2020 says, "I stand with Jesus." I mean, I just got chills watching it. I'm like, so he's not come off this prophetic word, and of course he's doing it on Christmas Eve.
Right.
I was just like, wow, I'm very impressed. And it's interesting that, he describes himself as a heathen and a pagan. And I don't know enough about, where he is like spiritually and all of that, but he definitely aligns with the justice message of Jesus.
Well, and so I'm going to start at the end,
Okay.
which is the rebel and the pagan on the side of Jesus is very clear. There were people that others identified as heathen and pagan who were on his side.
Yes.
He said the tax collectors and the sinners, they're entering the kingdom of heaven ahead of you. And I know this song will prick and kind of grate the nerve. A pagan, he is going to tell us,
star,
right, that he's going to tell us, we've been followers of Jesus for years. I know the way of God. And a heathen and a pagan who just sings his music, and he Jesus, I mean, more than once would raise the question, the people who think they're entering in, the people that
yeah,
it's possible, and I've seen this. it's possible to be on the side of Jesus without having embraced all what we would call or the correct theology.
And
we believe all
okay, so
the Trinity,
yes,
and we've got every little piece of
the
God.
Bible facts about Jesus.
Bible facts about Jesus.
So I taught this 2 weeks ago in our Bible study because we're going through the book of John. And I cling to these words because this is so important. Jesus said, and I love this. He said, "I do not judge the person who hears my words but cannot keep them. But there is a judge, because I did not come to judge the world but to save it." Then he says this, "But there is a judge for the person who rejects my words." And when I listen to Jackson Browne, I'm like, yeah, he is accepting the words of Jesus for what they are,
Right.
Absolute truth, and he's unapologetic about it. And it's just lyrically, there's so many things in the song that are so good, and probably to me the most poignant. And we know a little of this journey, but he says, "But if anyone should interfere in the business of why there are poor, they're going to get the same treatment," I think is what he's saying, "as the rebel Jesus."
Right.
They're going to get the hand up. Don't mess with our holiday. Don't mess with our world as we know it. Business as usual.
No, it's where oh gosh, there's so many places. But I look, so for instance, I did this thing one time with a group. I would encourage our listeners, if you read through the book of Proverbs, let's take the book of Proverbs, and every reference to the poor in Proverbs. Here's a fun thing to do. Just if you'll read through and look up every single verse that has to do with the poor. And then you can ask the question, is this the fault of the poor, or is this the fault of people around the poor? Is this the response? This is something the poor person should be changing, or this is something the people around that person should be changing? If you just take the book of Proverbs, for starters, it is fascinating. Now, the only verses about why there are poor that I grew up with, lazy hands make a man poor. If you drink, someone's quick to drink and out liquor, and then so it was
poverty will come upon
and laziness.
Yeah, and ruin.
It's funny. That's like 2 of maybe 4, possibly 5 proverbs that put the onus on the poor.
How many verses are on the people surrounding the poor?
A gob's more. I mean, it's substantially. I'm trying to remember it could be like 5 to 25. I mean, it's a huge.
It's a substantial. So the narrative that we grew up with, which put the primary responsibility for the poor on the poor, decisions that they've made.
Right.
The book of Proverbs actually says, no, it's the oppressor that is making the poor.
And if you go to the prophets,
oh yeah,
the percentages
go up.
Right. So if you look biblically, if you just look in the pages of the Old Testament, now again, there's also instruction in the New Testament, but like it's overwhelmingly, at best case, 5% of the responsibility of why people are poor, God places on the poor. You're going to be in the neighborhood of 90-95% is the systems and the way people treat the people outside the poor, the things the prophets we're not talking about the way the poor need to change. They're talking about how we needed to change toward the poor, which also mirrors Jesus, who repeatedly.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating. Even if you look at a heathen putting himself, a pagan, on the side of the rebel Jesus, Jesus repeatedly in his stories identifies the people that miss the kingdom are the people who miss the poor. The rich man and Lazarus at his gate that he neglected, the least of these that were neglected. The rich man that says, how do I enter the kingdom of heaven? Jesus says, well, sell all you have, give to the poor, and come follow me. He walks away because of the word about the poor.
Yeah.
He misses the kingdom.
Yeah.
Hopefully that changed. He misses the kingdom because of, in other words, it is a pervasive theme in the words of Jesus, actually, that you can mark off the people of the kingdom and the people not of the kingdom by
and
They care for the poor.
and okay, the rebel Jesus. Of course, when I just hear that title, I think of Jesus cleansing the temple, and he references in his song making it a robber's den. The sellers of
Yes,
doves. Do you know who sold doves? Do you know who the doves were for, Raj?
the poor.
The poor, because they couldn't afford a lamb. They couldn't afford a sacrificial lamb. So if you were poor, you could buy a dove for your sacrifice.
Right.
And they were marking them up. And
Right.
Jesus saw it and it infuriated him. So much so, this is what a lot of people miss. The other thing is, Jesus didn't just have an angry moment where he decides to clear the temple. And
I'm going to speak his mind.
it says that Jesus went into the temple, saw what was happening there, and then went home for the evening
To make some
to make
preparations.
some preparations. One was a whip of cords, which he brought the
The next
following
day.
day to drive all of the money changers and the sellers of doves and all of that out of the temple because they were they were oppressing the poor, and what should have been a house of prayer, and not just a house of prayer like we think of prayer and worship, a house that would be a safe haven for the poor, and making it where they're being robbed. They're actually being taken advantage of. So instead of it being sanctuary, it becomes oppression.
And here's the thing. I said it. The poor are big business.
Oh yeah.
It's a
I
funny
need
thing
to
to
talk
say.
on this. You need to have them come to your church and tell
No,
me
it's
it's
just,
so good.
but the poor are big business. And even whenever they get money, there's a host of
Yeah.
entities that are waiting to let's see if we can take advantage of that. And the poor can't get standard loans. So there are people, well, very willing to pay gouge and do all kinds of things. It's amazing even what's legal in that regard. Um, but it's just part of the reality is for the wealth to actually exist, you almost have to have poverty. You have to, that there is a trade-off. And we know this in general, like even in a deal, we can be excited about, because I look for deals all the time. An outstanding deal for me, if you look at their side, can really be a bad deal for somebody else.
Yeah, and that's why yeah, I've said before, Jesus would say, we say, what is it? Oh, uh, let the seller beware,
Yes.
or let the buyer beware.
All right.
Let the buyer beware. And I've said for years, let the seller beware. In other words, are we taking advantage in selling something? Are we
Right.
taking advantage of another person? Or if we're buying from someone,
Right.
are we taking advantage of someone? And I've had situations where the poor are offering me this, $400 air conditioning unit for $50 because they needed to
They're
make
desperate.
they needed a motel payment for that day.
Here's what I know as a buyer. I can always get the best deal when someone's desperate.
Yep.
I have to have cash today.
Yep.
And for decades, I just thought this is a grace from God, right? I just have this amazing thing. I got this incredible deal.
In the words of Jackson Browne, thanking God for his graces.
Right? But for God to open up what you just said, wait a second. Even if we think about treating other people like we want to be treated, it's one thing if I'm buying from a wealthy person who just wants to get rid of something. I just want to, this is no,
Oh, I love taking advantage of them. Absolutely.
right. They want to be, I'm just looking to get rid of this. I don't care. But I think how many times, right, I'm looking at somebody and they're offering, I literally one time had someone come to my door and offer to mow my lawn for $5. And the Roger for the first 50 years of my life would have thought, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Yes, you can mow my lawn for $5. But where the rebel Jesus has gotten into me, wait, well, that's just like the money changers, Roger. This person is coming offering you that $5 because they are desperate.
Yeah.
$5 is not a fair, livable wage that you would do the work for yourself. The rebel Jesus won't let me do that. Now, for many, many years I did. So this is part of the conviction, and I still have to fight it. I still have to fight it to be generous,
Yeah.
to be paying people like I would want to be paid, to look at a situation and not just look at what I'm getting out of it, but what that other person is and where they are in life and what's their situation. Now God's moved my heart. Like if the person is more desperate, whatever, the more desperate they are, the more generous I think God wants me to be.
Yeah, sure.
Because I have abundance. God has blessed me, and it's never been just for me. That abundance, and here's the thing,
Yeah.
this is where, and Paul talks about in Corinthians, that the abundance and blessing of God allows us to be generous and liberal with others who don't have. It's why it's the whole idea, like the reason God has blessed our country is not just for us.
Right. It's like so the overflow can bless others.
Bless others. It's like our country turns to having some of the most greatest trove of natural resources in the world and wealth. Do we really believe, looking at the word use, that that's just for us? That was just
Well, it's the poignant story of what we call, or what Jesus called, the rich fool.
yep.
The guy who has a banner year, unbelievable. His,
More for me, more for me.
crops go through the roof. He's got this incredible. His barn is completely full, and he's got more coming in. And he's like, "What do I do with all of this excess?"
It could go bad.
And what he decides to do is not to share it, not to maybe offer it up to someone who didn't have so great a year.
Exactly.
It's more than he can use.
He had a banner crop.
And so he says, "I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tear down this barn because it's too small, and I'm going to build bigger barns,
Bigger and better.
bigger and better.
And you fill the
and
pole.
then I will store up for myself. Then I will sit back, eat, drink, and be merry, have a life of ease." And God says, and Jesus says, "But little do you know that your life will be taken tonight. And then
Yeah.
what will you do with all that you've stored up for yourself?"
And this is what will happen to those who are not rich toward God.
Back to the idea of there's not a U-Haul behind the hearse.
And invariably, rich toward God repeatedly looks like rich toward the least of these.
Yeah.
Reach towards the orphans and the immigrants and the hungry and the
Marginalized,
poor.
the outsider.
Right, the outsider. And this is where God just has to keep working on my heart, keep working on our hearts. But he does it through a prophet like Jackson Browne. And I love the reality that even where we think of, we have God figured out how he works. But even his statement, "I work with things that are considered of no account." And sometimes even the Christian community, like we consider atheists or people, maybe they're not active believers or churchgoers, and we kind of see they're against God. They're not the sort of people that God uses. And you think about how God will just use screwy people with wrong ideas to shame the arrogant and the religious wise. Again, we always think like, well, Jesus, when he's using unexpected people, it's unexpected people like us. No, he's often using atheists, Muslims. He's using people. Oh, no, that's not how God works. He's not working Samaritans. He's not
stars.
He's not a Samaritan's not going to be a missionary.
Roger,
Maybe Jews are going to be the missionaries.
And we have no idea how the rebel Jesus, I mean, even how scandalous the story of what we call the Good Samaritan, which of course which was unheard of in their world. No Jew ever said the words Good Samaritan. They were just the bad. They were the outsider. We don't even want them in our land, and we don't want to have anything to do with them.
Right.
In fact, they would go around their land, of course, Jesus is like, "No, we have to go through Samaria."
You're bypass, right. You were not going to have any contact. Even Jesus' disciples, amazed he was talking to a Samaritan woman.
And so Jesus tells the story that we all know and that we embrace, but we don't realize how scandalous it was, because he makes the hero of the story. When I say hero, the person who's compassionate.
No, the hero, or this is the person whose example you should follow.
Yeah. Here's who you should be looking up to.
Who's the hero of the story?
Yeah.
Who's the
villain?
Right.
Well, we had a priest and a Levite.
Oh, our people.
That looked
the best of our people.
On the turning away, back to last week, went to the other side of the road. He makes the hero, the Samaritan, who has compassion on this Jewish man who's been left to die.
And he finishes saying, "Go Go act like the Samaritan.
Now, Roger, here's what's crazy. I think Jews would have liked the story better if there was a Samaritan on the side of the road that had been left for dead. And so, out of the minute, if the generosity should seize them, we're going to help this Samaritan. But Jesus didn't do that. In other words, this is the rebel Jesus. He was so intentional to make sure,
Right.
no, the person who helped was actually the Samaritan. Now,
Right.
you go, I love the way you said that. You go and be like him. Pardon me? Do you want me to, you said go be like the Samaritan. Yes, I said go and do likewise.
Right. No, right.
Crazy stuff.
Follow the example of, I always think that the commercial, be like Mike. Be like the Samaritan. You know, that just very, but Jesus was getting at there in our hearts where where all this stuff is churning.
Well, and I realized for me, again, the song is very convicting to me and should be. I think I live in a culture that often thinks about giving a little bit to the poor at Christmas. So we have, Toys for Tots and we have Christmas charity. I mean, there's really thing Christmas charities, and that's an actual thing. Where once a year we're going to give to the poor. And that's great. It just made me wonder, what are we doing the other 11 months of the year? What is Bruce doing the other 11 months of the year? In other words, is it just a month for, I mean, is December the month for benevolence?
Right.
Or is this something that should be going on year round?
And you're talking about 1 month versus the other 11. Here's another odd, I think giving to the poor is what I would call the tip of the iceberg. Below the iceberg, below the surface, you can't see the heart, are
you're interfering.
The attitudes toward the poor,
yeah,
are assumptions, our stereotypes, the stereotypes that are reinforced in our culture about how dangerous or irresponsible or lazy, abusing the system, all of these narratives. Below the surface, the reasons why people so many are related to heart things. And these are the things that you can't see, and the kind of things we tend to say, well, there's nothing going on, right? Like all God's concerned about is that we're nice to the poor. That's the things you can see. Or we give to the poor. But the attitudes and values and how we see people, and even and the narratives and the stories that influence our behavior,
And it wasn't the tip of the iceberg that sank the Titanic. It was what lied beneath. And it's the same as with the poor. It's the systems that are driving, in Jackson Browne's word, if we interfere with even the question of why there are poor.
Right.
Systems.
Right.
What are the things that are set against the poor?
Attitudes, values, which are influencing all of those things.
That sinks the ship of the poor.
Right.
Not the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
Everything underneath.
Yep.
The hugeness of it. So yeah, great song, Raj. And I do have to reflect on, all right, how am I going to allow the rebel Jesus to continue to change me? Because again, you can't, I mean, just a casual reading of Matthew 25, flies in the face of our theology about who's in the kingdom of heaven and who's not.
Right.
Because in the third story, we have the 10 virgins parable, we have the talents parable, we have sheep and goats, not parable. Jesus doesn't say it will be like this. Like he says this is how it'll be.
Right.
The king is going to separate the nations, right and left, sheep and goats, based on what you did for the poor, the outsider, the naked, the imprisoned, the hospitalized, the hurting. I mean, it's
right.
Radical.
Yeah, no, it's sober. And I think it's great that I think we at Christmas time we like the songs that are about hope. They're for us. The things are good for us, but things that challenge us. And I think we got to be careful at again. We love the Oh Holy Night, and there's a hope in the future. But even in that song, you look and say, well, there's hope for the desperate and the poor and the slaves and the I think we're most drawn to joy to the world songs, type songs, rather than I need to change to fit the heart of Jesus songs. So Jackson Browne's is, there's no wonder it's not played on the radio. It's not cheerful, it's
Roger,
convicting. And
Roger,
and
I
nuns
don't,
at Christmas want to be convicted.
I don't know that it's played in churches either.
Gosh, no.
I mean, it's just like I had literally, and I've listened to Jackson Brown songs,
Oh,
you know,
Jackson Browne
Running
is,
on Empty,
is one of my favorite
the whole
artists. He
loadout
is
song, "Oh, Won't You Stay Just a Little Bit Longer," which is my first personal favorite. But I had never even heard of this song, and it's on his Best Of album.
I didn't realize that.
And then when I watched the video this morning, this is 5 years ago, Christmas Eve 5 years, I was like, dude's not backing down. He's still preaching the same sermon, singing the same song. And I just love that looking into the camera going, I stand with Jesus. I'm just like, wow.
And don't assume you know who God's prophets are. Don't assume
That's a good word. Yeah.
that oh well it's just Christians or certain kinds of Christians or pastors or you're going to miss an awful lot of God's words to you through prophets that you have discounted. Oh, yeah, that's not a prophet or the son of a prophet. That doesn't fit the prophet category. That's not a deeply committed Christian.
No prophet comes out of Galilee.
Right.
Nothing good can come out of Nazareth.
Be careful about the prophets you discount, including Jackson Browne.
Yeah, Jackson Browne / Rich Mullins incarnate. That was crazy. So, Roger, next week I don't think we're going to be doing the pastors unless we do it from what, Mary Lou's house? Or is it Thursday? No, Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is Wednesday.
Christmas Eve is Wednesday.
Yeah, yeah. So there may not be a Pastords episode next week. So
Which is why we got Jackson in today.
this could be Sayonara 2025, which has been a super fast year. Marlene and I celebrated 42 years together last night.
Happy anniversary.
42
Yes.
years.
I love that.
42 years. I don't look 42.
42 wonderful, perfect years, just all bliss.
That's what I was going to say. Most of that is indeed. Oh, and by the way, big news, and we'll come back to this next year, but someone else now has 7 acres of property, farmland in Bluntsville, Alabama,
I've gotten wind of this, yes.
by the name of Roger E. Martin, abutting the land of Bruce W. Martin. So all you gotta do is create a bridge over the
Now
creek.
he owns 7 acres and a big ass backhoe.
Oh, it's a giant backhoe. It's so big. It's just
Because we're gonna have to work those acres. Those 7 acres need some.
in the
They need
words of,
some help.
in the words of Nate Bargatze, it's the most.
It's just.
It's the biggest. Just get the most.
Now our listeners will want to know: are we going to continue the music theme next year, or is that?
I think we should.
I like
loved
it.
And by the way, if you haven't, there's an REO Speedwagon Christmas song out there. Look it up. You put me onto it last year. It's really good.
Oh,
Which I can't remember. It's Hark the Herald Angels Sing or what? Oh, yeah. Anyway, look at Silent Night might have been, but look up REO Speedwagon Christmas song.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
very, very good. Unlikely Christmas carol singers,
Yes.
Christmas carolers. Pastords out.